Alright, as some of you are aware, all I've wanted to do since 2016 was to get the story straight. Because if things aren't turned around and justice isn't served for those of us who don't want to enter the new system, the only thing that will be available at night is firelight. And there will be those who will be very interested to know the specifics of how they came to be cold and hungry and staring at the fire. I don't know how many of you out there are aware of this. Hopefully, more than I think. There's been a war going on inside of our government ever since they assassinated John F. Kennedy. He was truly, at least wise in my estimation, the last of the Democrats. He was going to attempt to do exactly what Donald Trump is attempting to do right now, and it cost him his life. So it's a dangerous business. Even Ronald Reagan tried to play the deep state game until they started shooting at him, too. Back then, they didn't need to control the elections, they controlled the candidates. They would flood the field of candidates with their guys, who, if elected, would work on different aspects of their agenda. Bush Sr., he was the warmonger who expanded the reach of the military industrial complex throughout the world. Bill Clinton, he was the numbers guy who sold our jobs out to other countries around the world. And then there was George Bush Jr., who sold out our sovereignty in the name of security and safety. So the stage had been set to pull the rug right out from underneath this country. They just needed the right guy in office to do it. They thought that guy was Obama, tailor made for the job. His parents had been involved with the CIA and believed in a Marxist ideology. He hung out with a guy named Bill Ayers in college, who was a known anti American terrorist. Not only did Obama not do the job of being president very well, which he was never intended to do, he didn't further the deep state agenda very well either. He was too busy hanging out with football and basketball players, enjoying the popularity of being president, and selling out this country for fun and profit with his buddy, Dirty Joe Biden, to what would end up being the highest bidder, Communist China. Then, even after taking millions of dollars from the Chinese, he still didn't do the job. Remember when Obama took his trip to China and they refused to roll out the red carpet for him? Ever wonder why? That was because he wasn't living up to his end of the bargain. Hillary Clinton was the obvious successor. She had all the tools that were needed, except for the most important one, likability. Then along came Donald Trump, who the deep state never took very seriously. Because they've been in control for so long, they figured there was no way they could ever lose it. Trump probably won the popular vote in 2016. They had the election rigged back then. They just weren't counting on such mass numbers for a turnout for Trump. Something they vowed right then and there, shortly before or after his inauguration, that they would never let happen again. Now they had a huge problem. U.S. law would interfere with a quick fix, and that's when Obama started writing executive orders shortly before he left office. Orders that at the time didn't make much sense, but given the events that have transpired since 2016, make perfect sense now. They couldn't prove he was a racist. They couldn't prove he conspired with Russia. They couldn't even make a decent impeachment case. Having failed at all of that, they had no choice except to concentrate on the election. They needed a way to justify mail-in ballots because that's the best way to commit mass voter fraud. Then by accident or design, along comes COVID, the perfect excuse. But these people who can't do anything right except for line their pockets at our expense screwed up again. They again underestimated the turnout for Donald Trump, making the theft of the election so obvious even people who haven't been paying attention have noticed. So, what makes or breaks this entire situation? And it isn't like I really need to explain what the end result will be. And if we don't get it, we're all screwed.